Sport Beach, year 3, here we are. Thanks, guys, for being on here.
Thank you.
So I'm going to first address some rumors, Melo.
Talk to me.
We're going to right off the bat, despite you wanting me to and really lobbying me to be the coach of the Knicks, I'm going to just end that right now. My team I just think could take the starting 5 any day. So I'm going to turn down that. No more pressure there. We can end that.
No
Okay,
more conversation.
So now that we've cleared that, let's get into it. I have a belief that the internet sucks. I've said this before. I really believe it. I don't think it enriches lives, and we are in the early days. So, Tony, how are you enriching lives, especially from a digital perspective?
Well, I mean, it's sort of an interesting question because our business is certainly enabled by technology, but the key to the success of our business is our people. Our frontline associates are the ones that are going to leave you with hopefully an amazing impression of what Marriott stands for in terms of its culture, the perspective on each of the more than 30 brands in the portfolio. Technology will enable those associates, but those associates are the ones you're going to interact with every day. And so we're not an industry or a company that's in danger of being overwhelmed by technology because at its core, hospitality is a people-to-people company.
And Melo, you seem to really be about enriching through alcohol, cigars, weed.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, okay, lifestyle.
Lifestyle.
So tell me about that. Why'd you choose those to enrich lives?
Tell me about that, too.
That's why we're here talking, Tony. We talking about lifestyle. We talking about experiences. We talk about, in the back, we talked about authentic brands and being able to just build authentic brands in industries that's already proven. The industry that I've entered is wine, is cannabis, is cigars. They all come from the ground. They all come from the soil. So at the end of the day, you're able to tell the overall story of not just cannabis and what you smoke and weed, but you're talking about the actual cultivation of the soil and what you can do when you cultivate good soil. So when you're able to tell that story and have that type of experience, the negative connotation behind cannabis, it changes because now we're educating people. We can educate this younger generation on not just how to smoke and consume, but also there's so many different businesses in the industry that you can create new businesses and create jobs and create people in education and give students opportunities to take courses. So it's way deeper than just putting your name on the brand and smoking the blunt or drinking some wine and consuming these products. It's a real lifestyle that we're creating.
It's how you feel. That's similar to what you do. You're creating an experience. So, Tony, how do you rationalize that when you're at a location, you're experiencing things, but when I'm booking travel, it feels transactional? How do they connect?
Yeah, maybe I'll take the second one first. I think about our Bonvoy loyalty platform. For any travel company, when loyalty started, it was a very sort of simplistic transactional relationship. You as a member would stay in a hotel, earn points, ultimately redeem those points for a future stay. And while that's still foundational, the aspiration we have is for the program to evolve to be a much more emotional relationship with you throughout the travel experience. So if we do our job well, from the moment you start thinking about travel, you'll go to Bonvoy. You'll do travel planning there. You'll be communicating with our folks as in the run-up to the trip. You'll use that during your stay, and that's how you'll connect to provide feedback and to plan your next stay, post-stay. So I think the loyalty platform is the key to that.
So it's not just the moment. So when I think of wine, for example, wine is famous for having stories. You just don't drink it. There's a story to it. So how do you start that journey of a story for someone that's never even heard of your wine before?
Well, for me, it's about brand awareness, right? And how we can create the most authentic stories and the most authentic brand for the most authentic people that want to be a part of this brand. So we take in consideration everything and everybody, but we also is very intentional on the focus, right, and the consumer and the customer and the community. my big thing in business is creating community. If I can create a community, then I can introduce you to anything that I want to introduce you to as a community. We can talk about it, we can discuss it, we can have fun, we can read about it. So it's a bigger experience once you actually create the whole community.
And
Experience is the right word. I mean, we talked about this earlier. When you look at consumer spending, really across all demographics now, there is a fundamental and I believe permanent shift away from hard goods towards travel and experiences. And that's going to guide the success and the growth of your business, certainly our business. And it's because of that storytelling. Nobody goes and tells a story about the pair of shoes they bought, but the story they tell is this amazing bottle of wine they had and what they learned about how it was cultivated. They tell a story about the view they had from their hotel room. And so experiences are going to drive more and more facets of the economy.
Yeah, see, I totally agree with that, but then backing to why the internet sucks, there's such rigor in traditional content on how to tell a great story. I know you agree, Melo. I'm going to get you there.
I'm with you. We've had plenty of conversations
We have.
about this before.
And I just think about that, the internet, we had Google and these blue links, and then we designed everything around that. And we spend a tremendous amount of time on our logo and our brand and our content, and then we have shitty experiences that we put it through. Why are we not redesigning our experiences to deliver that same emotional rigor? AI is an emotional moment. It's not just making stuff. You can deliver emotion.
I think that the new experiences, we talk about future, we talked about in the future, will be how can you merge reality with AI, right? And because AI will continue to grow and constantly, right now it's growing as fast as possible that we can't even fathom how fast it's actually growing. And from a reality standpoint, from a human standpoint, we have to figure out ways of what is going to be that experience. What is the fine line? What is the seamless way to make this work? We can't just give it all to AI, and we all, as a human, we can't just take it with things are changing at a fast pace.
Right, so you're taking the blue pill. Blue pill.
I'm going to take the blue pill.
Got it.
But with the blue pill, you get to experience these experiences. You get to travel. You get to go on to the Marriott. You get to go hang out with the Marriott team. These are all global experiences that we can make, and AI can make it seamless to be able to go through and deliver that process. So if we can find that balance between human and AI, it'll work.
Yeah, Tony.
For our business.
Is the AI gonna take over? Are we not gonna see humans anymore?
No, I mean, AI can paint you a beautiful picture of what we're looking at right here, but you're not going to feel the breeze on your face, right? Agentic AI is going to be an enabler for you to explore the world. It's not going to be a replacement for that physical exploration.
So when I check in, and I have a bad day, what happens?
They're going to take care of you.
How about when the sentient robot comes?
No, there's not going to be robots checking you.
No robots?
There's going to be a human being that's going to look at the bags under your eyes and hear the sigh about what a crummy travel day you've had. But because of the technology that's there that creates capacity for them to look you in the eye, to have a brief conversation with you, they're going to pick up on those cues and enhance your travel experience.
Okay, so let's talk about change. What's interesting, I think, Melo, from your career is a lot has changed. I started my company in 2001. You're sort of like moving up around similar. So we've seen everything. I mean, even just sports from like NIL has changed the game, contracts, valuations, what it means to be an athlete, athletes becoming entrepreneurs, marketing has transformed. Like when you started, there was no like social media. I mean, it's crazy to think about. I don't even think they were like iPhones probably when you started. So we didn't have the mobile revolution or the social revolutions, clearly not the AI revolution. How do you think about change, especially, and what's coming next? And how do you plan for that when you think about branding and marketing your brands?
I mean, I think for us, our 98 years have been filled with evolution and change. For the first 30 years of Marriott's existence, we weren't in the travel business. We were a food and beverage company.
Root beer company.
Started as root beer, but once it got cold in Washington, nobody wanted root beer. So Alice Marriott started cooking hot food in her apartment. That turned into a restaurant.
Wait, hold on. She didn't think warm root beer?
It's not, doesn't taste
No,
very
okay.
good. And then in the 50s, we got into the hotel business and then started innovating that business, whether the innovation was creation of a loyalty platform, whether that was incorporating airline-style revenue management technology, whether that was adopting a multi-tier brand strategy. All of that is reflective of the constant innovation and constant evolution. Part of the reason we're in Cannes this week is the launch of our media network, which is a next logical evolution to take advantage of how we can educate and inform our guests to enhance their travel experience.
Melo, change.
Change is happening. It's inevitable. I think I've seen, just my experience over 2 decades of the NBA is like I've seen the game actually change 3, 4 different times. I've seen the business of the game of basketball change probably 3, 4 times to where now this is like a new, resurgence of energy when it comes to the game of basketball. But I do think it takes time to, build and create, but also to see the future. I give credit to David Stern, who saw this 20 years ago. He was telling us about this in 2003, 2004. And what we're seeing now is those seeds that he's planted, not just domestically, but internationally. So now the world is able to create these experiences and get these experiences based off of the seeds that was planted 20 plus years ago. So when you start talking about the future, we are planting the seeds now for 20, 30, 40 years from now. And it's a lot of people who say, Melo, how do you work so hard? Or why are you doing so many things? It's not that I'm doing so many things. This is very strategic. This is very intentional. This didn't just happen yesterday or 2 years ago when I retired. Me and my partner, we had this plan 10 years ago for today. Now, the plan wasn't to be sitting here at Stagwell Sport Beach, but the plan was to be global and over here having these conversations and talking the game of basketball global and trying to connect those dots and selling wine and creating lifestyle and travel, right, and experiences. So that's where I see that the future in 20 years.
But one of the things I love, even though the sort of history and tenure of our respective companies is so different, there's some common DNA there. Right, our founders, 98 years, started building this foundation for the world's largest travel company that they likely understood they'd never see. We were talking backstage. He's a professional winemaker. I'm an amateur winemaker. But both of us are planning vineyards that won't produce the wine we hope for 100 years. So we're both building the foundation of businesses for future generations.
Should we all put notes in our time capsules for our great-grandchildren to make sure they engage with your future legacies?
Well, they should
Is that a new
certainly try
marketing?
his.
Is
I
that
don't know about
marketing?
mine. We'll see.
I think so. You could buy the 2024s today,
Okay.
buy them and keep
Okay.
it for 30 years.
Okay, let me pivot to sports because we're at Sport Beach. Sports travel will hit $50 billion, I think, or hit $50 billion last year. The economy of sports and tourism, I think, is going to be like 1.3 trillion or something like. You could tell me that number in like a decade. It's an amazing place for brands to play in. So, it's very natural for you. You need to travel for sports. But what's your advice for global brands and how they can legitimately and authentically play and travel?
Well, I think you've got to align with the interests of your customers. So when we talk to our 240 million Bonvoy members, they really index in terms of their passions in 4 areas. Clearly sports, food and beverage, of course, music, and the outdoors. And so with that deep understanding of those passions, it causes us to think about who should we partner with. Right, so whether that's our partnership with Mercedes F1 team, the NFL, the NCAA, being the main sponsor for the Taylor Swift Eras Tour and now Beyonce's tour, right? We're trying to make sure we cater to all of their passions, and ultimately it's about keeping them in our ecosystem. If all of your travel needs and all of your personal passions can be satisfied within the Bonvoy ecosystem, you really have no need to look outside.
Gotcha. And Melo, how do you think about that? I mean, obviously as an athlete, you've been on almost both sides as a brand owner and an athlete before. What's your thought on what brand sponsorships are today? I think it's applicable to the entire creator economy, not just athletes. Like, What do they get right and what do they get wrong in this? And how do you make those, how have you made that decisions in the past and how has it changed the way you think about this?
Well, I think just the idea of what a real true partnership can look like. Again, you have to be a brand aligned. You have some type of brand alignment. Your pillars have to match. Your day-to-day thought process have to have some type of synergy together, and you have to be thinking the same way in some way, shape, or form in your respective industry. So I just think the experiences as an athlete, I put my athlete hat back on. As an athlete, when I go to a Marriott, I want it to be very, I use this word, seamless. I want very easy transactions. I want the room service to be good. I just want everything aligned. So when you know that and you expect that from me as an athlete going to the Marriott, that builds brand loyalty. That builds the community. The Marriott, you guys have one of the best and biggest communities that's out there so that you can be able to go do music and experiences and travel and leisure and all of those things. So to me, I think we as athletes, we want those experiences. But now it's not just about putting us as the face of the experience. You give us the opportunity, we talk about the idea, and we're gonna help you create this whole experience now. That's the difference. Before it was just be the face of the product. Now it's, yeah, we'll be the face of the product, but now we wanna build the whole ecosystem around this product. And if the brands don't align with that and don't want to do that and don't see that, that's where you get the discrepancies when it comes to brand partnerships.
So it seems like being human and connecting in human ways.
Well, and being authentic.
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 Being authentic.
So think about authenticity. You know, the leagues now are all trying to expand internationally. And with decent success, you have a history of tremendously expanding internationally. How do you think that both from a league partnership and just how a brand should approach international expansion?
Yeah, I mean, for us, as we think about those partnerships, the U.S. is our biggest market today. China's our second biggest market. But I was in Berlin a few weeks ago, and I met with the mayor of Berlin. He couldn't have cared less to talk about Marriott. He wanted to talk about the NFL game that's going to be hosted there this fall. And so we try to identify partners that have a global footprint or global aspirations.
So with that, Melo, you're joining and help producing the NBA on NBC. So storytelling is a critical component. How should sports storytelling change? Like, what are you going to bring to it that's going to bring a new lens into, you know, we talk about change, into a new world, international, all these things happening. What's your view on that?
I think as athletes, we're natural storytellers. You know, day to day, we tell stories. We tell stories of how to stop this person, how to stop this team, how to, you know, go into this city. Everything we do, we tell a story. From the plane ride to the bus ride to the locker room, all of those things, we've been so naturally gifted in as far as telling stories that now when you get out of the game, you're able to have a whole different perspective on what those real true experiences are. And my perspective on the game it's not that I know more than the next person. I just feel like I give a different, fresh perspective. I give people perspective on what's actually happening in quick time, not why somebody is he's a terrible player because he shot 3 for 20. No, let's talk about why he shot 3 for 20. They could have played 4 games in 5 nights. They could have got in at 3 in the morning. They could have. It's a lot of things that goes along with that. Aside from saying, oh, he just shot 3 for 20 from the field. You have to really get the viewer and the people who's watching to understand why he shot 3 for 20. And because of that, it alleviates the negativity that's being thrown as an athlete. It alleviates the character attacking as an athlete. Let's leave the character to them as an individual, and let's critique the actual game itself. And I think everything will get back to where.
So back to the game, but perspective
back to the game, which is why NBA did it with NBC, because NBC is the original when it comes to storytelling in the game of basketball and sports, and I think they're the best to do it when it comes to that.
I also think basketball has an inherent advantage. It's the only major sport you're not wearing a helmet or a hat, so you get to know the players, and that storytelling about the individual players, about their personalities, about their backgrounds is the key. If you look at the way Formula One has exploded, it's largely because of the Netflix show. because it allowed them to take the helmets off the drivers, learn their history, learn a little bit about their personalities, and the NBA has a big leg up in that regard because you've been telling those stories for so long.
But Melo said something quite interesting. I think sports is very unique in the media landscape, which is like giving perspective. And oftentimes in sports, at least sports commentary, discourse drives perspective. They're very comfortable, and obviously I'm one that loves a good argument. And when you think about travel, and part of what you do in the imagination discovery is to hopefully get new perspective, new places to visit. How do you think of like friction and discourse to drive perspective in thinking about the stories and the platforms that you put out? Because you don't want bad friction. It doesn't want, you don't want it to feel like you're filing taxes.
I
but
think
you want
the
to get perspective.
discourse that exists in travel creates an opportunity for us. So we find ourselves in Western Europe where there's lots and lots of dialogue about over-tourism, right? You go to cities like Barcelona or Venice, lots, understandably, of locals bristling a little bit about the impact that tourism is having on their quality of life. To me, that creates an opportunity for those of us in travel. I would submit to you that it's less about over-tourism in Barcelona or Venice and under-communication about the rich set of destinations that a country like Spain or Italy has to offer. If we don't do a better job in a public-private partnership helping prospective travelers understand, of course you should visit Rome or Venice or Florence, but there's 100 other amazing destinations across Italy, and we've got to do a better job facilitating travel and dispersing the number of international visitors that go to Italy rather than having them concentrated or 2 or 3 markets.
Okay, I want to do a lightning round. You ready? Let's keep it short.
Gotta make Baltimore proud.
Okay, well, we're going to start there. Baltimore or New York?
Come on.
Baltimore.
Oh, okay. You got printed.
You want me to explain it why? It's
Yeah,
fine.
give a quick.
I'll explain later. I'll explain.
Okay, we'll get back to it if we have time. Baltimore or New York?
Baltimore.
Okay. Best place in the world to visit?
Ooh, you get me in trouble right now.
I didn't show these questions before, so this was a real.
we're
gonna amp this up. This is the warm up.
Switzerland.
Oh wow, wow, Switzerland. How about you, Tony?
I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to say somewhere new.
Oh, that's a cheat, but I'll let you have it. Okay.
But if you don't want that, I'll say Italy.
Okay, that's good.
You've been saying Italy all day.
I know there's some Italy fans in this audience. Okay, sentient robots are coming out. You know where this is going.
Yes.
Are you the first to buy it, last to buy it, or never buy it?
I'm the first to buy it.
Wow, embrace and change. Oh, both of you. We love technology here. Okay, we're going to go a little basketball. Best 80s or 90s Knicks coach between Van Gundy, Pitino, or Pat Riley?
I'm going to say Van Gundy.
Van Gundy, wow, okay.
I got to reveal my Laker fandom. And say
Oh, we
Riley.
don't care about you. Never mind. It doesn't matter. We know where you're going with this one. Okay. Desert Island, okay? I'm doing this to force you, Melo, because I know what you're going to say.
I see where this is going at.
You know where it's going to go. You can only grow one grape and a variety grape, red or white, and what's the variety? It's Desert Island, like you can't get off of it.
A Grenache grape.
Okay. Tony?
Sangiovese.
Okay, nice. There we go. You heard it here.
Similar.
Okay, does the internet suck or does it not suck? How can I not ask this question?
Is that the fire round? Is that a question?
That is a question. I have one more after that, then we'll get back to your Baltimore thing.
The internet is evolving.
Evolving. Okay, that's not. It's a yes or no question.
I plead the fifth.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Oh God, you guys don't want to take a stance here. Okay. Andy Roddick. I don't know if you saw this recently. Okay, Melo's shaking his head, but he said, I'm going to paraphrase it, but something in the fact that like tennis or tennis players for that much is the best all-around athletes because of like no air conditioning, no time, it's sprinting, everything. So is he right, or is it tennis, basketball, or baseball? What's the hardest sport? Some people say hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in all sports, but it's not all around. You sit there in the outfield.
Tennis is hard.
Is Andy Roddick right?
Tennis is hard. Basketball is
Easy?
no, hell no. It's very no basketball. I would say basketball for sure.
Basketball over tennis.
I would say that.
Okay, we
Personally,
gotta get a debate between you and Roddick on this one. That's next Sport Beach.
we can have that conversation.
Tony,
Basketball.
basketball. Okay, back to Baltimore. Why Baltimore? That was controversial. We got to go a little
Why
deeper.
Baltimore?
Yeah, why Baltimore?
I mean, people ask me why New York. I mean, I was born in New York. I lived in New York. I moved to Baltimore when I was 9 years old.
Are you
so-
a New Yorker or a Baltimorer? Is that the right?
I'm a Baltimorean. Like I was raised in Baltimore. Like I was born in New York, but I like to say I was raised in Baltimore. So my roots will always take me back to New York. But my spirit is B-more.
I'm not going to tell anybody from New York you said that.
They
So
know that
your
though.
secret is safe with me.
We go through this all the time with New York.
Okay, last question. This is a general one, not controversial. But what's the one thing you want just the audience to think about when building a brand today? You both come from actually very similar. You're both hospitality, both about experiences. Like, what's the takeaway in a modern world that you want the audience to know?
I'd say align yourself with brands that are authentic. The world is full of inauthentic brands. You're going to stick throughout your lifetime with brands that you believe to be authentic.
I have to follow up, sorry. Authenticity, is that going to be a real thing? Do people care?
100.
So you're saying when AI's meeting every need, I'm going to care that it's authentic if it feels
In
good to
travel,
me?
absolutely.
Travel, okay. Melo, authenticity, is that like a fake word or what do you think?
No, for me,
Is that like being personalization?
Well, I think all being authentic is what you stand on and who you are and what you believe in. That makes it authentic. So if somebody else agree with that and feel that same way, then they want to be a part of something authentic.
Can
too.
AI stand for something? Can AI have values? Can it have a soul?
AI doesn't have no emotion. It's not emotional. But what it can do is it can tell you how to be emotional. It can tell you how to use your actual emotions.
If Tony's sentient robot hurts your sentient robot's feeling, are you going to be pissed or not?
Me or the robot?
You're going to be pissed for your sentient robot.
No, because I don't want my robot to have no type of emotions. I want him to just be very stoic and very straight to the point and give me what's right and exact. I don't want gray area with a robot.
Is the robot opening your wine? You're going to trust it with your wine?
See, now we're talking about lifestyle experiences. That is a real lifestyle experience that we can take to the Marriott and have a real, actual experiences with robots, being the sommeliers in the Marriott with the wine. I'm just pitching
Tony?
my Be More
I
native right
disagree
here.
a little bit because not if. When we do something in
Yes.
one of our luxury hotels with you, if I ask everybody in this audience, do you want a robot to open your wine or you?
Yes,
and
they-
tell the story
they gonna
while
say
you're
me.
opening? They want you.
They gonna say, but I'm gonna bring the robot with me, right? So instead of me just being the face of the product and pouring the product and telling the story, the robot is gonna be creating these experiences around the room with everybody as I'm pouring the wine. So that's
Okay.
how you merge both worlds
All right.
and make it work.
You've set me up to say hoodie Melo, robot Melo, sentient Melo,
I would say digital Melo.
digital Melo. Okay, you hear it first. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.